What up, y'all? Welcome to another great episode of the Needs to Be Studied podcast. It's your boy, Billy the Bad Guy. In this episode, I have not only is she's a sexologist, but we're going to add reality TV star to her resume, okay? And podcaster. And if you watch my old show called 25 and Over, she was once there and we had a few viral clips together.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't know what clip I'm talking about, I'm going to insert here. Okay.
I was just we had a couple though. So which one you talking about? I know the one that they was wild in I don't know.
I remember my DMs, not my DMs, my notifications was going crazy for because all the clips came out at one time. So I was just like, can the notifications? I love it, but can it stop? And then the comments, what the fuck? But one thing about me, I'm glad that I don't let the comments get to me, especially when they was people take a short clip and make it the whole episode. And that's not the reason. Even just now I went on TikTok and I was like, I have an employee. In 9 months, she called out 14 times, right? And I'm like, do y'all think that's insane or normal? And somebody's in the comments, I think it's crazy that you're in her business, da, 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 da. And I'm just like, that wasn't the question. And I had to respond was, what you don't know is I'm actually her manager. And we was having a conversation and she asked me to come on here to take the poll and see if it was normal. And people said it wasn't normal. But people just take clips and just do whatever they want with it. But however, more important things and way better things, we have the wonderful Jody from Her Nut Matters podcast on the show.
Yes. Hey, y'all.
All the way from Chi-Town.
Yes.
What y'all be saying out there?
What you mean what we saying out there? We talk like I talk.
Nah, because New York, we say dead ass. So
we say that too, but I don't know, it's definitely some Chicago shit that you say.
Like when a hoe's playing with you, what you say?
Your ass a goofy.
Your ass a goofy?
Yeah. Or because a goofy is the worst thing you can be in Chicago. You don't want nobody to call you a goofy.
So somebody call you a goofy,
you gonna fight.
It's up.
Yeah, it's up. That's the worst. I might be a lot of things, but I ain't no fucking goofy. So yeah, don't nobody in Chicago want to be called a goofy.
Damn. Good to know, because I probably went to Chicago thinking you goofy.
Yeah, I might tell a joke, but I ain't telling no lie.
Somebody ever called you goofy?
Nah.
Nah, can't.
Nah, because it really is some fight. If somebody call you a goofy, y'all really into it. Y'all into it. And nah.
That's not it. All right. Well, I think it's equivalent probably in all states, all parts of the world right now. But I know if you tell a New York nigga, suck my dick, you're going to die. You're going to die. I remember being at work when I was a young Billy. I was the manager, and I had this nigga in the kitchen, right? And he came out of jail maybe a year, right? But I was cool. The whole thing is love Billy. I'm just cool. You feel me? And he told somebody to tell me something, but it was a joke. And I was like, tell that nigga, suck my dick. And the guy was like, nah, I'm not telling him that. I was like, all right. So I came in the kitchen and he's like, yeah, Billy, da 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 da. I was like, nigga, suck my dick. He said, well, hold on now. He said, I like you. Even though you're a homo, I like you.
Even though you're a homo, it's crazy.
I like you. But you're gay, telling me to suck your dick, and you're just telling me to suck your dick, makes me want to go back to jail.
Yeah.
So please don't tell me that ever again.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of women in Chicago might say, suck my dick, but it's obviously we don't have dick. So,
right.
It don't really mean nothing. And something else you don't want to be in Chicago is, dude ass.
What that mean?
If somebody, something wrong with dude ass, dude ass.
Oh, dude ass?
Yeah, dude ass. You don't want to,
what that mean?
What's to dude ass?
Wait, what?
If mother all right, so if a guy is weird or a person is being weird and they doing weird shit, and somebody be like, who do this?
Who do this?
Yeah, what's the
you do this? That
buddy ass.
What's buddy ass?
Buddy or dude, if you what who is buddy ass? Who brought buddy ass? It means we noticed that this is weird, motherfucker. This nigga is a goofy. This nigga is a weird ass.
So that's Goofy's cousin.
Goofy's cousin.
I'm about to start saying that.
And anybody that's with him is damn near associated to the weird shit that they doing, because it's like, all right, we don't know who this person is, so you need to come get whoever the fuck this is, because they being weird.
Buddy asses need to come get goofy.
Yeah, well, buddy ass is a goofy.
Damn. Heard. All right, so on this show we talk about relationships, sex, and everything that needs to be studied, right? And I'm so happy that we have a sexologist. But in school, sometimes the teacher has to give you a pop quiz.
For sure.
And our pop quiz is our icebreaker questions.
Okay.
And you spoke about the last time you was on my previous show about putting the molly in your butt, and you had to go to the doctor, and they had to take a straw.
Specifically.
Ecstasy. Sorry. Things that shouldn't be in your butt anyway.
Right,
but
yeah. It's other stuff I could have had in my ass.
All right, so what's the most embarrassing thing that happened to you recently during sex?
Recently? Ain't nothing recently happened to me embarrassing. I feel like I got all that embarrassing shit out in my like sex life early on, like back with the whole like going to the doctor because I had a pill in my ass, and it was like shit like that. That happened so early on to where it's like now it's like I don't have to repeat those mistakes. So it's like I don't really have embarrassing moments. And also it's not really nothing that I haven't done that is like, I don't know. Like I don't really think I could be in a embarrassing space, because I feel like when you embarrassed, you're ashamed of something. And I don't like that don't happen to me no more. I'm grateful for that.
I hope we could all get to that level one day. As somebody that once had sexual anxiety because of a fuck nigga, that will make you be embarrassed about little shit. But hopefully everybody could get there one day. The next one is, what's something you recently tried in the bedroom, and what is something that's on your sex bucket list?
I ain't told nobody this on the podcast. I recently licked butt.
That's nothing.
I hear that it's nothing, but as someone who's never licked ass, like at all.
You lick buddy ass?
Yeah. No, I know he ain't buddy ass. He's not buddy ass. But that was something like I ain't never did that before. And I feel like people assume that because I am who I am, they like, oh, she's done it all. And that's one thing that I was like, oh, I haven't done it. I was never opposed to it, but I just haven't done it. So that
can I ask you Alan's question?
Yeah.
If a butt has a crack in it, isn't it supposed to be ate? Have a crack for a reason.
What the fuck that's supposed to be? Like,
supposed to eat it.
No, not necessarily. It's about like, that's funny as hell, because I tell people like me, even as a woman, like, if you gonna eat my ass, that's cool. But that's not something where it's like, I have to have that done to me because it don't really do shit to me. Like, I don't really care about it.
How did this eating of the ass come about?
So I kind of knew he was curious about it because he had like sent me like a meme or something like that, and I was like, and then like we was vibing and drunk, and so he like I was like, okay, cool, I'm finna try this, like I'm finna just like keep going. So I'm going below the balls, going to the gooch, and I'm like, okay, I'm finna like slob a little bit and like rub, like, and kind of eased into it. And it was cool. It was cool.
All right. Would he want you to do it again?
I'm pretty sure.
And would you do it again?
Yeah.
Another ass eater on the couch. We love it.
Ass eater is crazy.
But what's on your sex bucket list?
What's on my sex bucket list? An orgy. I still ain't never had an orgy. And that's something that I be telling people like, yo, I want to experience that. Just because I know, like, for example, I get out shrooms and I'll be wanting to be like stimulated in a lot of different ways. So for me, I know that I like threesomes already. So I'm like, okay, cool. What if it's like 5 of us?
It'll be magic.
Yeah, like that's how I view it.
It'll be a magic. All right. So my next question to you is, in Washington, D.C., that missionary is the only legal position?
In D.C.?
In D.C.
I'm not surprised by that.
Any other position, you will go to jail. So now I've been asking people.
That's hilarious because D.C. is like that small. D.C. not really that big. D.C. is just in the middle of everything. So it's not really like, it's like,
but why just missionary? Like a position they should ban is fucking riding. You feel me? Some people don't like to ride.
just because they don't like to ride don't mean that they should ban it. Riding is like the best position for a woman specifically. Like that's how they
A
can
lot of
really.
women don't like to ride though.
Yeah, them hoes is lazy and they need to do their squats.
So give them 2
Yeah.
tips. I would say 1, but give them 2 tips because the men want the women to ride more.
Yeah. So what I would say is, it's a couple different reasons why somebody might not like to ride, right? It might be that they insecure about like they body or they weight or whatever, right? What I would say to those people is that he knew what your body looked like already. So why are you in your head? Like oftentimes women will project what they think a man is thinking onto him, and that's not even his thoughts, right? Like if he came there to have sex with you, he knows what your body look like. Like what are we doing, right? So that's what I would say. Also, when it comes to riding, it's really, people be talking about your knees. It's not really the knees that need to be strong. It's your thighs. And so if you do a lot of leg workouts, like I dance a lot. So it's easy for me to like calf muscles, thighs, like I'm straight. So balancing and stuff like that is kind of easy. So when you do leg workouts, it's easier to do stuff like that. Also, if you own like a couch or something like that, that's a cheat code because then you just kind of use the couch or whatever you're on to balance yourself. So it can be good. It can be good.
So what would you say is how long can you ride for?
I can ride the whole time.
The whole time? 5 minutes? 10? More? 20?
Yeah, I dance for real. Like
Well, these hoes ain't dancers. Okay.
Nah, like it's been plenty of times like me and a partner or whatever, like, and I suck dick for a long time too. So like I be down there, whatever, and then I'll get on top. So when I'm cause I'm a switch. So like when I'm dominating a guy or whatever, I take control. He don't really gotta do nothing but lay there and keep a hard dick. And I enjoy shit like that. So I'm like, all right, cool. Suck your dick, I'm doing whatever. I get on top, I rat. I don't really allow I do the fucking around here. So
you fuck back.
Yeah, like even when I'm getting hit from the back, like I will take my legs, wrap around, and pull you. Like I fuck back for real. Like Did you see my arch video? I be doing some shit.
No, I know you. First of all, I want you to know you are legendary on this show because I mention you almost in every other episode because I share this tip with everybody. Dick choreography.
Yeah, throat choreography.
Throat choreography. And I love it. And I love it. And I would love for you to come to the next live show.
Oh, for sure. Yes. We
need lessons, you know? And I remember that I took that lesson that you taught me last year, and I was doing throat choreography to Beyonce's live version of Cozy. And I was like, this is a reminder. And I was thanking you.
Yes!
So you are legendary.
Thank you. When women come and take my classes, they always tell me like, oh, look, my husband don't even know.
Do you do classes in New York?
I'll do classes wherever people have me, to be honest. Like, I do classes in Chicago, of course. I also have virtual. I do have a couple clients that don't live in Chicago, and I do virtual sessions with them. But I be in New York, so I wouldn't mind coming to New York and setting something up. Yeah.
Fuck it. I'm going to tell you off camera. I just had an amazing idea. And Wolf, as a person that's seen this live show and everything that happened, I have an amazing idea to share. You too, Gabby. We have a meeting.
Period.
That's awesome. Like, all right. So, can you give me another dick sucking tip for when I go to my next adventure?
I've been, so more recently, I've been incorporating lube.
And sucking dick? Flavor lube?
No.
Okay.
Just lube. Because it gives it a different feeling, right? Think about like slob, right? If you lick your hand and then rub it, at some point friction is there, right? But then when you have that kind of extra slick, it just feels different. So if you want to give your partner a different feel, that would be good. And also, like, I give real good hand jobs. So I'm very much a like slow, sensual. I'm gonna turn on some music and look you in your eyes while I'm like rubbing your shit before I put it in my mouth. So that's gonna get your partner way harder just because it's like, all right, cool, if I suck your dick, let me hurry up. Like, no, really work for it. Right? I kind of use, that's like my way of worshiping a dick, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm like rubbing and got the balls and they nice and, it's like, it feels good. So that's where the lube really comes in first, right? And then sometimes like I put like just a little bit of lube in my mouth, let it mix with my spit, and then like let it drip on there. And it's nice. I get really good feedback.
Okay, let me write that down. Okay, so what would be a law you would create, put into place?
A law. Oh, if I had
a sex law.
It would be around foreplay.
Okay.
If foreplay does not, a mandate that foreplay has to last 18 to 40 minutes, or that man cannot 18 to 40 minutes, or that man is not allowed to penetrate you. That would be it. And the reason being is that 80% of women do not have an orgasm from penetration alone. A lot of that is because penetration is the center of sex, right? But if you kind of like take that out of the equation, it forces you to really take your time and be creative with the sexual experience, as opposed to like, let me put my dick out and put it in you. Like, that's so basic. And so if more women were fully engorged, fully erect before penetration, they would experience more pleasure and be more likely to have an orgasm. And that would essentially eliminate the orgasm gap. Okay. So that would be my mandate.
I like that tip. All right, so now we're gonna go to our chemistry class, which is our relationship segment.
Okay.
And the first topic is sexless relationships. Can they work? And my honest opinion is no. Because sexless relationships lead to cheating. Because I will cheat. For me, I'm a big physical touch, I think, is my second or third love language. It changed over the time. So, but I think it's number 2. Whether it's like holding me, touching me, massaging me, but that intimacy, that actual sex play is really important to me, because after a long day of being dominant all day, I just need that touch to feel intimate and to be a sub and to feel, it's just a different connection for me. And I feel like it's definitely needed because I got needs to let go.
I hear you. I don't agree. And I know you like, bro, you a sexologist. Why would you say that? I think there is a flaw in how we define sex, right? Like I said, penetration is the center of how, like, oh, is it sex? Like, oral sex is sex, but it's viewed more as foreplay, right? I think that's problematic. I think that sexual experiences go beyond what typically people view sex as. And so when you sexless, right? So when someone talks about something being sexless, they're basically talking about the lack of penetration. That's what it comes down to. They're talking about the lack of penetration. I don't think penetration is the end all be all when it comes to relationships. And you said like, oh, you need intimacy. You have intimacy, and then you have sexual intimacy, right?
I need that sexual intimacy.
You can have all types of intimate relationships that don't have sex. So really being clear about what it is that you want. Oftentimes people use sex and intimacy interchangeably, and that's a dangerous way to go about building a relationship from a healthy perspective, right? Because it's like, oh, you keep on saying like, oh, I need sex, but really you just needed a fucking hug. That's not what you needed, right? And when you know who you are as a person, you know, like, all right, cool. Sex is great. It's beautiful. I'm not saying that, you know, like it has to be the thing. Again, everybody is going to be different. If it's a deal breaker for you, great. If it's not a deal breaker for you, great. What the fuck do you want out of the situation? And find a partner that is going to be compatible with you. Also, I think in the sexual conversation, we don't talk enough about asexuality. There are a lot of people that have no sexual desire whatsoever, and it has nothing to do with their partners or the other people. Like oftentimes, if somebody doesn't want to have sex with you, you often internalize that because that's your ego speaking, and you say like, well, what's wrong with me? Why don't you want to have sex with me? That person don't want to have sex with anybody. They don't have they don't have this sexual desire to just, be in that space. But they might desire intimacy, or they might not desire intimacy either. Like, it might just, they might view sex as like a masturbation tool. Do you really want somebody to just masturbate with your body?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say sexless is impossible for me because I done have a relationship where I will go on vacation and we won't even do anything with each other. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like,
But that's your ego.
No, it is a necessity.
Right. I hear you saying that it's a necessity, but another part of that is because if your partner, you and your partner are having a great time, right? Y'all having a great time, y'all on vacation, but your partner just genuinely doesn't have the desire. And it's not because they don't desire you. They just don't have the desire to have sex. It's nothing wrong with you. But you're like, but this is what I need. And it's like, okay, so would you rather them just give into your needs and neglect those, like the genuine lack of desire there and now he's technically masturbating with your body, but you got what you want.
Masturbating with your body is crazy.
But that's what a lot of men do. A lot of men will literally like, all right, cool, I'm just going to fuck you because this is what you want.
So can you have a sexless relationship?
No. But also, we got to think about what it means to be sexless, right? So sexless is, if y'all together for like a year, but you only have sex like maybe 2 or 3 times in that year, that's considered sexless, right? Yeah. So it doesn't mean the absence of sex. It just means a very, very low frequency of sex. Or it could mean no sex at all too. But I say that to say, just be mindful of what your own desires are and not internalizing too much the other person's desire or lack thereof to have sex, because again, it might not be you, it might just be a season, right? People's diets impact their desire, right? People's mental state impact their desire, right? Like somebody might be going on this long stretch of just mental whatever, and they like, I'm genuine, I can't get there. And I think we need to just be a little bit more graceful.
You are very educated and well-versed in knowing what the fuck you're talking about. And I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And as you know, anything that's an ologist means study. So you study sex. Like, how did you come in the field of studying sex?
I was a podcaster before I became a sexologist. And I love sex. I love talking about sex. But I also knew, as much as I love talking about sex, I was not fully educated about sex, just like a lot of other people in the world. And I did not want to be another podcaster talking about sex and not knowing what the fuck I was talking about. I wanted to approach it from an ethical perspective. For me, I had a responsibility to educate myself so that I could help other people. So I want to say a couple months into podcasting, I was like, I'm going to be a sexologist. And I went and got 2 different certifications. I got a specialization in sucking dick specifically because I love that shit.
There's a class on that?
Yeah.
Send me the link.
I got you. And that's why I'm in it. So I tell people, like, I don't just, like, when it comes to, like, teaching other people how to pleasure their penis owners, I don't just do it because it's like, oh, this is all the shit that I know how to do and now I'm teaching you what, like, no, I actually studied it and I got certified to be able to teach you guys this. So that's one certification. The other one is just my general sexologist certification. So that's where I learned about, the anatomy, the history of sex. I teach an anal class because of that specifically as well. I learned all of the things about sex in different countries and all of that, right? So I do have this very wide kind of like net that I possess in terms of the education. So like I said, I wanted to be well-versed so that when I am talking on my show, or, I might have a guest, I might have a client that wants me to help them explore their sexuality, I can again approach from an education as well as an experience perspective, not just like, oh, okay, I listened to a couple videos or I read a couple books and I'm going to tell you what I think. Like, no, that's not responsible to me. So I became a sexologist and it just made everything kind of like better. So I still crack my jokes and stuff. I still tell my actual stories. But like I said, I just wanted to be ethical.
Our extracurricular activity, which is our sex segment. And I want to talk about a little bit with you is how to deal with sexual incompatibility, and what are some signs when you are sexually incompatible with somebody?
You can know if you're sexually incompatible with somebody before y'all even have sex, just by certain questions that you ask. So a lot of people think that you shouldn't talk about sex too soon. Me personally, I think it's a way to talk about sex without talking about sex. So let me tell you what I mean by that, right? It's easy to, for example, let's say me and you out, right? And I'm like, oh my God, Billy, I was watching this funny reel on social media and it was talking about this guy that loves to get his ass ate. What you think about that?
Oh, okay.
You see what I just did there? There's no fucking video. I just made this shit up. But it's a low stake way to have an important conversation because you want to know, you want to ask a question. Like, I don't want to just say like, you like getting your ass ate? That's not the question because I don't want you to think like, oh, okay, cool. When we leave this restaurant, I'm finna go eat your ass. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do, right? But I am trying to create a low-stake way to have an important conversation because the way you respond to that is going to tell me your mindset on sex. So when I am interested in someone, right, I need to know their sexual mindset. If you have a very limited approach to sex, I'm not going to enjoy having sex with you because I'm adventurous. I like to do different things, right? And if you say instantly like, no, a nigga getting his ass ate is gay, and it's like, ooh.
Okay.
You're allowing societal constructs, right? The to control the way you sexually express. I don't allow societal constructs to express, to control the way I express sex. So we wouldn't be compatible in that way because I'll be trying to get you to try some shit and you like, nah, I don't, and it's like, nah, I'm not doing that. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be into everything that I'm into, but you cannot be, if I'm like super free and liberal, you can't be overly conservative. It's just not gonna work.
Right.
So I typically tell people to open up the floor for, something like that in a very low stake way. So you can again, use social media. I'm pretty sure there's something on social media that says whatever it is that you said. Like, there's nothing new under the sun. So just do it in that way where it's like, all right, cool. I know that, for example, if you say like, all right, I want to be with somebody that know he got to eat my pussy every single time we have sex. Create a scenario where you're like, yo, this crazy girl Jody on social media said foreplay is supposed to last 18 to 40 minutes. What you think about that? Oh, hell no, that take too long. Oh, why would that take too long? And then now you guys are having a conversation. Make those mental notes and do what you got to do from there.
Got you. I like that. Ooh, I'm gonna take that. It's so crazy because we had Sir Marvelous on the show, and he we was talking about I want to get into role playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he
I love role playing.
Yo, what's the last, like, what's the craziest thing y'all did? The roles.
Not
even crazy, but what's a role you done?
Wednesday Addams.
And you dressed up in everything? Oh.
I'm kind of dark. I'm a Scorpio, so it's like I like shit like that, and I like people like they look at me. I have this kind of like natural mean face when I'm not talking and smiling, so it was kind of easy for me to like get in that mode.
Right.
Like I got the dress, and only thing different I did was like put on my stripper heels or whatever. So I made it a little kinky.
Okay.
So like I made him like get butt ass naked and get on my massage table, and I just like slow rubbed him for like 45.
And was you like speaking with, in character?
Yeah, like I was whispering shit in his ear. So it's like on the one hand, I'm this character, but on the other hand, I'm still me. So I basically meshed these two things. And that made it real fun.
See, so I was talking to the guy. I was like, I want to try role playing, and he was like, you do? He was like, what you want to do? And I wasn't prepared for that comeback.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, well, maybe I'll order food and you be the Chinese delivery man dropping off the food. And I said some random shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, nah, you ain't ready. You don't got no wrist for this. He was like, you're not even selling it to me properly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's important. And
it is. You have to stay in character. It's super important. I tell people like, you know yourself better than anybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, my recommendation when I talk to people about role play is I say, think about what is most natural for you to act like without because you can't break character. You have to stay in character, right? So if you're someone that, for example, I know you said like, oh, you're a manager. right? You do that for work. If you manage people, okay, cool. Your role play scene was, I'm your manager and you've been late for work too much. You gonna get fired if you don't suck this dick.
Woo! I like that.
And it's super, and it's like, oftentimes I think, again, people get in their heads and you don't have to create, like, you're not a fucking doctor.
Right.
I wouldn't know what to fucking diagnose you with outside of cancer. Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what else to do. So I definitely think it's important for you to think of ways to, because you're yourself, but you're just going to pivot a little bit, right? And then because you already do this, right? Like, for example, it would be easy for me to play a teacher. Super easy for me to play a teacher because I have to teach people all the time anyways. It would be super easy for me to play like a therapist, right? Like, those are easy things for me to play. What would be hard is if I had to play like a pilot or something like that. Like, I barely know cars. Like, what are we talking about here? So I don't think, like, it should be simple, right? It should be simple and effective. That's what I think.
I like that. What do you think about people having different libidos?
So, your ego has no place in the libido conversation, right? So, like I was saying earlier, your desire versus somebody else's desire is just their natural desire, right? Whoever desires sex the least sets the tone, right? So, if I only desire sex once a week, but you desire it 2-3 times, how do we bridge that gap, right? So that might mean if I desire it one time, you desire it 3 times, right? It might mean, okay, I don't want to have penetrative sex, but I'll suck your dick. I don't want to have penetrative sex, but I'll give you a hand job on our way to dinner.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do we meet in the middle? So I think that's super important. Now, also, I think that comes into, like, how do you define sex, right? Because that's what it's always going to come down to. Like, I love having dope-ass sexual experiences. That does not mean that I'm getting penetrated all the time. Like, I don't, like, especially because, like, I typically deal with partners that are, like, very nice size. Yeah. You're not going to be, like, just ramming me all the fucking time. Like, I don't want that. I don't desire that, right? I do love dick. I love dick.
Well, we said we love a boyfriend-sized penis. A nice size where you could come, take it all the time. If it's too gigantic, nobody wants to take that.
Yeah, like, I'm straight on that. And then also it's like, I think I'll speak from a woman's perspective, right? Sometimes we will, again, internalize that and say, like, oh, if he doesn't want to have sex with me all the time, he's not that attracted to me. That doesn't mean that, right? What society has fed to us and programmed into the way in which we interact with the opposite sex is that women cannot be viewed as valuable beyond a pussy. So men also don't view women as valuable beyond a pussy. Right. If you take sex off the table, like, take your pussy off the table and really talk about how you're, like, what is your real value behind that? Now shit gets interesting. Right. So I definitely think when people begin to expand the way in which they view sex, then it's like, oh, it's dope if I have it, but it's super dope if I engage in these other kinky sexual experiences and I can still achieve orgasm or I can still achieve all of these beautiful things, right? Because women can have up to 14 types of orgasms.
So 14 types?
14, yes, 14.
Can you just list a few for the people?
So,
did you know that, Wolf?
Yeah, so, yeah, women can experience up to 14, men can experience up to 11. So, women...
Talk about me first.
Talk about you first is crazy.
That's a selfish orgasm.
Yeah, but for example, people don't talk about, the fact that you can experience like a multiple orgasm, right? You can experience an orgasm from nipple stimulation. You can experience an orgasm if you're into certain types of kinks. Like, for example, if you're into like oralism. If someone is whispering in your ear the right way, you can experience orgasm, right? So the fact that, again, we only talk about penetration as a means to orgasm makes no fucking sense because there are so many different ways that you can experience an orgasm. So I challenge people to just get creative. Like, if you want to experience an orgasm, get super creative and understand what it is that you truly enjoy outside of penetration. And then you can begin to unlock those other types of orgasms. For women, more often than not, they know about the vaginal orgasm, then they know about the clitoral orgasm, right? Then, of course, there's the anal orgasm. You can have an orgasm from stimulating the U spot, the O spot, nipple stimulation again. I rubbing my ears gets me there. Like,
It is?
yeah,
Like the
it's
thing
an
that's in your
erogenous
face?
zone. Yeah, like this is erogenous. Like,
Mm.
slowly massage your ear. Like, that shit, like, it's a lot of sexy shit that you can do with your body. I feel like people don't explore their bodies enough.
You ever thought to, did you ever write a book? Thought to write a book?
I'm actually writing a book.
Yeah, like this is some gems.
Yes, I'm actually writing a book right now. So with the rebrand of Her Nut Matters, the whole point in Her Nut Matters, and the reason why I kind of made the switch is because there is of course, there's a lot of miseducation around sex, but more importantly, people are genuinely not having good sex. Like, people ain't having good sex. They talking about all this sex that they having, and it's not good. How do we get to a place where we're bridging that gap? How do we get to a place where we're closing that pleasure gap, right? Because it's like, as much as so many people talk about the orgasm gap, I don't really like talking about the orgasm gap, right? Because when you talk about an orgasm, that's just assuming that the orgasm is the end all be all, and that is the only way you can experience pleasure. But you can experience pleasure absent of an orgasm. You can, like, if you're having a good time and you're satisfied and you are experiencing pleasure, then that's a good thing. Now, if you never, and there are like 10 to 14% of women are experience what's the word?
That's why I'm not a sexologist.
I can't think of the name. I can't think of the name, but basically it means that they will never experience an orgasm. Like, it doesn't matter what you do to their body.
Is that a disorder?
No, it's not really a disorder. It's just how their body is. And that's fine. Like, it's okay. You can still experience pleasure if you didn't have an orgasm. Okay. So that's my point. My point is that an orgasm doesn't have to be the end all be all, because I give myself an orgasm in 2 minutes. That doesn't mean that I truly enjoyed it. Like, I just know the buttons to press. That just means I'll go like, boom, like orgasm.
Right.
Like, so.
That's a fact. Okay, so that needs to be studied, which is the meat of the show, is how can single men and women explore their sexuality? I'm in the phase of my life where I done had the fun, casual sex when I was younger. It was lit. It was amazing. Going to apps, somebody come over, you link them, you have fun. But now at this big age where sex is just, I look at it, I view it different, and I want to learn my body before I become fucking everybody again. Because there was a time where I didn't have any standards. I was just doing what I wanted to do because I needed to be somebody's masturbation toy. That's crazy. That might be the name of this episode.
Don't stop letting people masturbate with your body.
But now I'm at the point where, like, a simple jerk off is just a simple jerk off to me now. I don't use any toys, and I believe that I am missing out on the experience of exploring my sexual fantasies and what my body needs. So my question to you is, how do you explore your sexuality when you're single?
So when I set out on my sexual journey, I started masturbating. And I had never masturbated before, so I started with masturbation. Fast forward to now where I am in this space, I fuck myself how I want other people to fuck me. So when I talk about that 18 to 40 minutes, that's not just a requirement for my partners. That's a requirement for myself as well. So I literally romance myself when it comes to sex. I light candles, take a shower. I rub lotion and oils on my body very slowly. I graze myself. I know what feels good to me because I do it to myself. So it's easy for me to translate that to a partner. So I definitely think that the way you treat yourself sexually sets the tone for how other people treat you sexually. If you masturbate with your body just on some like, oh, let me get this off, what do you expect other people to do to you? Let me get this off. And so...
Do you recommend this tip for guys too, like setting the scene?
Yes.
Guys, do you set the scenes?
Probably not. Men are simple. Like, and I hate that for
he said, hell yeah, he set the scene. If you set the scene?
How you set the scene? Right.
I didn't know niggas set the scenes. It was just like, wow, I have a lot to learn.
Yeah, but I think that's important. I definitely think it's important to treat your body the way you want other people to treat your body.
What are some common misconceptions people have about exploring their sexualities, especially when they're single?
Okay. I think the common misconception is that you need somebody else to explore your body. I think that is like the biggest thing, right? Because you hear all the time, for example, it might be a woman who hasn't had that many partners. And then she runs into someone that's like, oh, you not really experienced and I don't really like having sex with you. And they're like, well, teach me. It's like, kind of explore your own body. You don't know what your body likes, but you expect somebody else to come into your space and show you what your body likes. That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
But that's how a lot of women approach sex. And that's that kind of pillow princess mindset. It's like, you need to, you can't wait for somebody to just do some shit to you and you be like, oh, okay, I like that. Noted, like, nah, that's not how that work. Really take your time with yourself and you'll be surprised at what you discover, right? Like, be super curious about your body. Be super curious about it because, again, when you're curious about your body, you're setting a tone for how other people will treat it. So then when people come into your space, they're like, oh, okay, cool. I want to explore this with you. And you could even tell them before y'all even get to the sex part, you say like, oh, I was playing around and I did this and I just so happened to stumble across the fact that I like my clit being played with slightly to the left. But you wouldn't know that unless you were actually exploring yourself. You can't expect somebody to just be like, all right, cool, I'm going to take all the time in the world to get to know your body if you don't know your body.
So for the gays out there, like myself, that does anal play, or women that's interested into exploring anal play, what tips or advice do you have for that?
Oh yeah, that's my jam. Cause I be riding the anal,
Riding the anal.
I ride anal.
Bumbaclats.
Yeah, I told you, these some good legs.
Yeah.
But tip number one, for women, don't treat anal like it's vaginal sex. That's why it hurts. That's why it's not pleasurable, right? A lot of women are like, all right, cool, I'm going to, like, if you put it, like, no. Because a lot of women also think that, like, anal is for, the smaller size. It's like, nah, I take 8 inches in there. Like,
right.
you can...
I know, I heard.
No!
So I heard.
So I heard, it's crazy.
Or experience, but hey.
But... you cannot treat it like that, right? So you have to, like, if you fail to prepare, you will not have a pleasurable experience, right? So get you some lube, right? Get you a good lube. Also know the position, right? The best position is you can do it like missionary style, but like with your legs as far back as possible, right? Because what that does with the anatomy, right, is the inside. I'm not even gonna use the technical jargon because y'all gonna be like, what the? I don't know what the fuck that is, right? So the inside of your asshole is like this. You want it to be shallowed out. If there are any women that have had babies, you know that when you're in labor, they push your legs back. That's because that's the easiest way to have a straight, like, shot. Same thing with your asshole. If you're anybody out there listening, if you got a poop stool in your bathroom, to make it easier for these shit, you know that position that's what you need to do, right? So if you have your legs as close to your chest as possible, that is the best way for your partner to penetrate you, right? Also, breathe. People be like, oh, you just got to relax. No, you need to know when to breathe, and your partner needs to know your breathing as well. So, for example, what happens when you inhale? Inhale. You're sucking everything in. Everything is tensing up, right?
Yes, you're right.
So, when you exhale, what is happening?
Hold on. Okay.
Exactly. So
I'll be on the train. I'm gonna think I have a panic attack. No, bitch. That be cold.
Practicing my butt muscles.
Butt muscles.
But he goes in on the exhale. So when I'm having anal sex with my partner, I inhale, and he knows that when I'm about to exhale, that's when he goes in. So that's when you are relaxing, right? Now, people tell you like, oh, practice like Kegels and all that, which is great, right? But the easiest way is to practice your breathing. So when you inhale, y'all getting in position. Exhale, he eases in. Inhale again. Exhale, he goes in some more. And practice that. Go slow. Okay. It's not a pussy. you don't just
ram it in.
Yeah, we not doing
Ram
it,
it.
right?
Yes.
So yeah, get you some good lube, practice your breathing, get in the right position, and you straight.
Okay, I got 2 more questions for you real
Okay.
quick before we get out of here. And then one of the questions are, what advice do you have for singles who are hesitant to use toys or other tools to explore their sexuality? Like me, I never used a toy before. I just can't.
I be
fathom the
using my
thought.
rose on my asshole.
Let me send me a link for a rose.
Okay,
I never
I got
tried
you.
that.
I got
But I just can't see. I can't picture me, and this is me in my head. Me just inserting a dildo in my ass.
You don't have
Or-
to. You don't have
So,
to, right?
but I want to explore my sexuality. So, what tips do
Right.
you have?
Yeah. So you can use, again, people assume that there's one type of toy and you just, what did I say? We centralize penetration.
Right.
Right? You can experience things in, like, for example, like when sometimes when I'm giving head, I'll take my rose and put it on his gooch while I'm doing it. So that oftentimes men don't know what a vibration kind of sensation feels like or what a suction sensation feels like. And I like exploring shit like that. So I will take my rose and put it there, allow him to experience that. I don't want him to, experience too much and get overstimulated. Boom, he busts too quick. And now I'm like, oh, man.
Right.
So, right. But I do like to play around with different stuff like that. Even if I'm not putting it directly on the gooch, but I want like a lighter sensation, I might like put it on my cheek. So that while it's in my mouth is vibrating a little bit, right? Or like if he's like throat fucking me or something like that, I open my mouth real wide and then it's like, okay, cool. Like he's feeling that vibration, but also the back of my throat as well. So, but I say that to say, a lot of penis owners do not know what certain sensations feel like, right? And a lot of toys have dual purposes. We assume that, you have a penetrable and you just like insert it, whatever. But you can play around with different feelings, right? A magic wand. I actually, I went to a play party and I helped a young lady achieve orgasm by grazing her with the magic wand. Again, people see a wand and they're like, put it on the pussy. Right. It's like, you have a whole body. So even being slow, right? Like slowly grazing somebody. Like that shit feel good. Like, have you ever been grazed?
No.
Give me your arm.
Do I have to unbuckle this?
Yes.
We can't wait for this shit right here. Oh my God, I'm nervous.
Not you nervous, right? So tell me how I feel.
Like, I just feel like I can't describe. I just feel like I'm like turned. Not. That shit feel good as fuck.
And a lot of men don't experience that, right? So me, and also I give massages. So when I'm exploring a man's body, I like to do shit like that I know ain't nobody else doing. Like, of course you can have somebody rub your back. Like, okay, cool. Like, that's fine.
See, that's
but I get...
Because then you get stalkers with that after it. Because then they're like, oh, you my girl.
Right. Like,
you my girl.
Who else you think you gonna graze?
Who else you did that to? No, thank you. So I hate to see you go. I love to see you come to New York, but I hate to see you go.
Yes.
Her Nut Matters. Tell us, where can they find it and what's the podcast about?
Oh, yes, of course. So Her Nut Matters is, I like to, I'm going by the term, I'm now a pleasure advocate. Right? Okay, yes. Like,
I'm still
very, very political with this shit, right? Because her nut matters, right? So the reason for the name is that a lot of times we don't centralize female pleasure, right? Which is unfortunate because, again, a lot of people are just masturbating with each other's bodies. Women aren't really exploring their bodies. Men aren't exploring women's bodies either. They're not being patient with women's bodies. They don't want to do foreplay. It's just all of this bad sex happening. But the key, I believe, is that when you begin to prioritize foreplay, you begin to prioritize getting to know her body and what she likes and what she desires and what turns her on and what gets her in the mood, then you open up this kind of pleasure cycle, right? Because women are naturally reciprocal, right? So if you're going above and beyond for me sexually, now I want to pay you back.
Right.
How do I pleasure you now? How do I so now it's like, okay, cool. It's almost like a little competition, right? To see who can be the most pleasing in the bedroom, so to speak. So I think that it just opens up a dialogue for how do we shift the conversations around sex, and how do we explore sex from a social, political, historical, cultural perspective so that we can all have better sex lives and shift those limiting sexual beliefs to liberating sexual beliefs. So on Her Nut Matters, you can expect some jokes and me just being me, because I'm a funny ass motherfucker. I crack jokes. But also you can expect to learn a lot about sex. Like literally, how are they having sex in Papua New Guinea? I don't like and how does that influence, how other people have sex, right? Sex from a global perspective. What are things that, were never truly your sexual beliefs, but were projected or implanted into you from an early age. So then you lived your whole life just sexually repressed and not realizing it.
Right.
So we kind of unpack a lot of shit as well.
That's so dope.
So yeah.
And where can they find it?
Her Nut Matters is everywhere. Apple, Spotify. Actually, I do video on Apple and Spotify as well. So if you go to my Apple and Spotify, you'll see the actual video, not just on YouTube. So YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and then anywhere else you listen to podcasts, you'll hear the audio. So iHeartRadio, all the other platforms. And Her Nut Matters on Instagram, of course, if you want to see like some funny clips, get a little preview of the episodes. And of course, like you can find me on my personal page too.
Of course.
Yes.
And what's the personal page?
Yes, my personal page is JODYPRHOE.
Yes.
So
Well, please don't take too long to come back.
Yeah, it's been a year. I missed you guys. I love it in New York.
Thank you. And you'll be back.
Of course. Yes, soon,
right?
for sure.
You know where to find me. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, and tell a friend and tell a friend. Later, y'all.
Bye.
That was amazing. Thank you.